I was a miner, and I was hurt on his job. They don't be sued. The man that owned the skate rink, he just managed it for him. But he was kind of couldn't cook it together. He had a little bit with it. We could be an attorney. Would be, go to. So he took me to the election. The Texarkana. That's where they live. His partner and him too. So I was just right there at her house, at her mama and his sister. That was just the summertime, wintertime.
Yeah, in the wintertime.
And then we took off then and to Texarkana then, see. But
so when all that was over with, that's when you worked. Then you went to work for the
dairy freeze. See. Well, about 6-7 weeks later, here my partner, my friend, come to me. Fort Smith. I'll get a minute at Mark Tree. And he said, I've picked out a dairy freeze and I'll buy it and I'll give half of it, half for me. Huh. Now, young man, but this guy that worked at dairy freeze, he's so smart. He's done everything, but he worked for the Ice and Coal Company years ago, and of course, the LP gas come in, so I put the coal business out of business. They still have ice. So he had that for about probably a year for this company, Rittering Company. They're big, very big at Mark Tree. Mm-hmm. They own the town. And all the land around for 7-8 years or a little farther, maybe. So he said, well, I've always said that if you stay on the same job, you do better.
Mm-hmm. I guess this was Dewey.
Yeah.
Dewey.
Yeah. So I thought I'd just do that, just stay there with it. And I like the dairy freeze anyway. And then there's a boy in the back. Her mama and her sister live in the back. So I was staying there with them. So it made it pretty handy.
So were you still working there whenever you enlisted in the Guard?
Oh, yeah.
You were still at dairy freeze?
So I had to. You have to.
Oh, it was a draft?
Yeah, it had to be drafted.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I had to go to National Guard or drive. Well, I didn't want to lose my job. Mm-hmm. See, you're tied up there for 6 months. And he's willing to do it for me. He works a lot of extra himself there. And so after that 6 months, I come back there to do for him. I worked for him 15 years.
Wow.
So after South Carolina, you went right back to Truman and picked up your job. And,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Now the kids from the church come to the dairy freeze. Mm-hmm. So I met all of them. Pat didn't come. She didn't go. Because she didn't drive then much. I don't know if she drove at all. And, but most of the kids come.
Yeah, for a small town, that was a hopping place, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they flog in there this big way.
Nothing else to do, so.
A lot of them just park in front, and do nothing. Oh, yeah.
That was a Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So did Melva live in Truman too?
Oh, yeah. She lived there. He used to come to dairy freeze either.
But then she ended up working at the dairy freeze. Ah. So you met Melva at the dairy freeze.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what was your spiritual life then? I know you went to church while you were here, and then you went off to South Carolina and you came back. Were you connected anyway with church then, or did you quit going? Or
no, see when I come back from the National Guard, I hadn't been in church yet. And then, I see, it was 1960, the first day of 1960, when I started going to church. But anyway, this lady I'm talking about, she told her husband to take some ducks to the preacher. And give to me, he'll be delivered. I didn't know where the
Gave it to you to deliver.
I didn't know where he even lived, so I had to find out where he lived. But when I did knock on the door, he said, "We got a Bible. Won't you come tonight?"
How about that?
And Carl did it was on the Bible. You may not remember about him or not, but he preached there here in Fort Smith.
Who was it?
Fort Champ. Yeah.
Carl Denny.
Denny.
I like the Denny's.
Denny's.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And anyway, so then that night, they got in a victory bar, and I got in a victory bar. I'd never been to Pentecost
Victory
before.
March, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
You probably had no idea what
Yeah,
it was.
right. But I went to the altar, you know. Well, then there's two more preachers too. Just me and there's one guy been going just a little, not much. His mom and daddy, and then so we all started at the same time, and they went to the altar, you know, too. See, and I'm still connecting, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've preached around everywhere, pastored church for years, but. So then I went to church every service. Then I started all the time then. But anyway.
But you said that your boss's wife had been praying for you, right?
Oh yeah, for about at least 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful.
Listen, that prayer makes a difference.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
I mean, anyway, I took him ducks there. Then I went to church that night. Then, well, after church. This guy said, "Are you going to come to church tomorrow?" I said, "Probably. I'll come get you." But I probably never would have went if he hadn't been there.
Yeah.
Right.
See? So.
Yeah, sometimes you just say sure because you're trying to be polite, but he had a burden for you, so he was going to make sure you got there.
Yeah. But had a great revival.
Well, back in those days, they had revivals all the time. And they
they go
might
for
last for weeks.
We'll go for a month.
Every night. Every night.
But Pat come to work to Deer Freeze. She worked one day, and her sister. They come over home today.
That's pretty funny. That's funny.
I never could turn to make an ice cream cone. After we just whipped them out of there.
Uh-huh.
Mine was all. And we.
That's pretty funny.
And that was a big deal because that was the whole.
That
That,
was-
Yeah,
that
but
was
she
the
didn't.
thing.
She didn't do long enough to.
Like Dairy
I
Queen,
didn't.
when it was later, you know, that's what they always prided
I
on,
didn't.
the perfect cone, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Too, we both did.
But it,
And then I ended up spending my life in it.
but yeah, so I was there at church all the time. Well, I was going to say I hadn't been there very long, and during the week I drove by the church, and the devil told me, said, "This only patient town here were baptized in Jesus' name." You know, but it didn't bother me though. But anyway, just that first week, see? And these other guys, they was there probably 3 or 4 months, and they went down Mississippi and started going to Bible school.
Oh,
On it.
that's cool.
Some of the younger guys from the church.
These two guys, started the same time I did.
Oh, wow.
You know,
They're close to average age. They're all,
Uh-huh.
they preached together for a long time.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, one of them there, he pastored a long time Tennessee and Mississippi for a long time.
But he was from Truman originally.
Well, really, he's from Hardy, Arkansas.
Yeah.
But his brother-in-law, and his sister moved to Truman.
Yeah.
That's what brought him in. Of course, this other boy, his daddy was a boxer. He won up to the third time, up to the third
Place.
And well, he quit boxing, started farming, because they called him in, see, to make all that money. And he had no training. And they just beat him just to death. Just about, see, this guy did on it. But, so when you go up to at least 5 the third spot to be, that's really something.
Yeah, for sure.
But and then this guy, he kind of won the Golden Glove in Memphis just before we started going to church.
Jimmy Mead.
Yeah,
That's his name.
yeah,
Jimmy who?
Jimmy Mead.
Mead.
yeah. And of course, I'd go out with him, and Mama fixed biscuit and gravy, and I'd on Saturday night. But yeah, so I was at church there 20 years there at Truman. And
Were you married in that church?
Yeah.
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 Because Sister Moody started working at
the Dairy
Freeze.
Freeze.
What year did you guys get married?
Tell me about
59.
59.
Mm-hmm.
So you met her pretty quick then after you came back from basic.
No, it wasn't too long. Yeah, it wasn't too long.
Yeah.
You're right. It wasn't very long after that. But, yeah.
So when did you get the Holy Ghost? Did you get the Holy Ghost in the Trinity?
Oh, it took me about 5-6 weeks.
Yeah. During the revival, though? That revival?
Yeah, because if I want to revive, I'd go to one.
Uh-huh.
Ah, you'd find one somewhere.
But anyway,
Yeah.
what I'm saying, in the Bible there then, it's different. You don't take nothing to get the Holy Ghost. You just raise your hand
Yeah.
to the Lord.
Yeah.
But see, they all went to the altar, and I'd pray all the time and cry all doing the altar there for about 5-6 weeks. On it.
Did you get baptized along in there?
Well, I done that the first week.
Oh,
Very
okay.
first week,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, it's the winter time, and baptized cold in there. But anyway, then I went to church for 20 years there, and then when it started school here, I came before Smith.
Mm-hmm. When we got a Christian school.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because by then, Brother Thomas was here, right?
No, Brother Thomas.
No, he wasn't here yet.
No, it was Brother
he wasn't.
Lumpkin.
Right, Brother Lumpkin.
But anyway, I was here 2 years. Then Brother Thomas came to Jonesboro.
Right.
So I moved to Jonesboro. So they had a school there.
Right.
So the kids were all there, see it there. And Mel was going to school there. She was helping there. And then, so I just drive down to Truman, which is only about 14 miles on it. But I was there 6 years. Brother Thomas was there 2 years. Brother Dean was there.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Brother Dean. I forgot that Brother Dean was there.
Brother Dean was there for, I guess, about 5 years. But, so we come back to Fort Smith and stayed then.
What year did you come back? Do you remember?
Second time.
Yeah. I think it wasn't very long before I came.
Well, because we all hung out together. We were in school.
No, but after the second time. Because by then Dana would have already been graduated, right? No, she came.
Yeah, when they came the second time, she was graduated.
Yeah, see.
Okay.
She was already graduated because she finished school there, right?
She come
In
here.
training.
Yeah, she finished
No,
here.
she
She finished here.
She was already
Okay.
in high school already, helping for college there to it. See.
Yeah, because she and I went to
Youth together.
well, it was West Ark at
Ark,
the
yeah.
time. Yeah, we were going at the same time.
Yeah.
Would you go call Reed? He's called me twice just to make sure he's okay.
Okay. You might want to call. I have this running.
I've got it running too.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
I mean,